Good afternoon, guys. Day 7 of the vlog. We've done our first week. So far so good in my eyes. Anyway, we've had some good feedback. So I'm going to push on. Today I'm going to share with you a useful tip about how you structure your sets and reps for certain exercises. I'm going to introduce you to a new idea which you might not have heard before. It's called a cluster set. Also known as ladder sets maybe. I only became aware of this concept myself maybe within the last 6 to 12 months. So once I discovered this, I've been using it a lot for clients and for myself. I'm sorry if the camera angle is a little bit different, but I put the camera up high just so that you don't see the glare on the whiteboard from the lights in the gym. So yeah, cluster sets. A few ideas to share with you. So a cluster set is so an example of a cluster set would be a single set where we split up the reps with small rests or pauses within the set to try and achieve more reps within that set, if that makes sense. So, for example, let me show you this example. So, if I was doing a cluster set of pull-ups, I would be doing a set of, say, 5 reps in this cluster set, and each rep would be separated by a pre-decided pause or rest where I would probably get off the bar. So I maybe do 5 to 30 seconds between each rep. So I'd perform my first rep, take a 5 to 30 second, which I would decide before, pause, then I'd do my second rep, then another 5 to 30 second pause, then another rep, and a 5 to 30 second pause, one rep, 5 to 30 second pause, and then another rep. So I'd achieve all my 5 reps, and that would be one cluster set. So reasons for doing it. So for example, if I use the pull-up example again, say myself or my client is only capable of performing 1 pull-up at any one time, they just can't do 2 in a row, then what I would do is I would maybe use the cluster set as in an attempt to try and allow them to perform consecutive pull-ups. So what we'd initially start with would be perhaps an example of maybe 3 reps or maybe 5 reps where we perform 3 to 5 reps with a 30-second pause in between, and we see how many reps they can get when we perform them like that. So for example, say my client can do 5 reps with 30-second pauses within the reps. That would be their cluster set. Then what we'd look at doing would be performing multiple cluster sets like that. So we maybe do 2 to 3 sets of that. So they're getting in possibly 15 reps, which for someone who can only perform 1 pull-up is quite a good amount of volume. Then what we'd look at doing is we'd look at cutting down the 30-second rest in between the reps. So the next workout we maybe do 25-second pauses between the reps. So we do 1, 25 off, 1, 25 off, 1, 25 off, 1, 25. Then what we'd hope to do then is drop the rest down, work our way down to dropping the pause in between the reps down to 5 seconds. So we're looking at maybe 1, 5 seconds off, 1, 5 seconds off, 1, and then those reps are getting pretty close together then. And I'd be very surprised then if that client couldn't then perform at least 2 consecutive reps on the bounce. So that would be one example of using it to improve volume of pull-ups. Another example could be squats, for example. So say I'm looking to build my legs and I'm trying to do it in a fashion where I'm trying not to perhaps go to 2s and 1s on the reps. I'm looking to do 3s. So, but I'm trying to keep the weight quite high. What I could do is find a challenging weight for me for 3 reps, and then rather than splitting it up into say 5 sets of 3, I could do 5 sets of clusters. So what I could do is do 5 sets of 9, and the weight that I'd be able to do for that cluster set of 3, 3, 3 would be considerably higher than if I tried to perform 9 reps straight. So rather than 5 9s, I'd be doing 5 sets of 3, 3, 3, if that makes sense. So just basically using a heavier load for the same amount of volume should stimulate greater strength gains and greater size gains. So again, on this, I'm perhaps not ever trying to get it to the point where I'm trying to perform the 9 reps consecutively, like we were doing with the pull-ups. So what we do is perhaps, depending on the weight, I'd decide the rest in between the clusters, and I'd probably just stick with that. I'd manipulate that so that I could perform 3-3-3, but so that it was tough and I was using the heaviest weight possible. So that'd be another example. I could also do that with a bit of a, so this is where the ladder sets come in. Same kind of idea. So I perhaps find my 3-rep max, something that's really challenging for 3 reps. We'll use the squats as an example again. I perform my 3 reps, perhaps put the bar back, wait to 5 to 30 seconds, unload the bar again, 2 reps, put it back, wait my 5 to 30 seconds again, unload the bar again, do a single rep. So I've managed to get 6 reps out when after I performed those 3 reps, I would have called the set a day, but having using cluster sets, I'm just taking some little pauses and I'm able to double the volume of reps that I'm getting. So if say I was doing 5 sets of 3 and calling it a day, I could have potentially done 5 sets of 6 with the same weight. So obviously I'm doubling the amount of work that I'm doing. So I'm obviously going to get better strength and size gains as a result of doing twice as much work. And then it just leaves me to the example that I used yesterday, was with pull-ups again. So for me, I'm struggling with my pull-ups at the moment. It's not something that I've been doing a lot of. It's normally quite a strong movement for me. Again, I've not been doing much of them since the back injury, so not at my best currently. So for me, I'm trying to build some volume. My kind of failure, I could probably maybe get 8, 10, 12 reps out straight, and then I'd be struggling after that for any sets that I performed after that. So I introduced cluster sets in my workout yesterday. So I did a set of 5, took a 15-second breather, then 4, 15-second breather, 3, 15-second breather, 2, 15-second breather, 1, equaling 15 reps for this first cluster set. Took a minute and a half off, and I did 5 cluster sets with that structure. So at the end of the workout, I've managed 75 reps of pull-ups, which if I tried to do in straight sets, I would have struggled. I mean, I would have struggled to do 4 sets of 15, 5 sets of 15 with a minute and a half breather in between. That would never have happened yesterday. But so even though I'm not trying to work right now on the building up the consecutive number of reps, I still wanted to get the same amount of large volume of the movement into the workout, and using cluster sets allowed me to do that. So it's definitely something to think about when you're planning your work sets, particularly for compound movements, so for squats, deadlifts, overhead presses, barbell overhead presses, maybe pull-ups, things like that you perhaps play around with low rep work sets. Think about putting mini pauses in between reps and still classing that as one set, and that's effectively what a cluster set is. So lots of jargon there, so I hope that made sense. So yeah, I'll just link to me doing the pull-ups yesterday, so you can kind of get an idea of me performing them. But yeah, cluster sets. If you check that out, you'll definitely find some benefit from using those in your training sessions. Okay, speak to you again.